Finance Chief Rishi Sunak has doled out billions to combat the disease and pay furloughed workers. In Parliament, he spelled out the havoc COVID has wreaked on government finances and on the UK economy.
The largest fall in output for more than 300 years.
The largest budget deficit in peacetime, with national debt approaching 100% of GDP. Sunak said there will have to be economies.
Sticking rigidly to spending 0.7% of our national income on overseas aid is difficult to justify to the British people.
But reducing UK aid from 0.7% of national income down to 0.5%, a cut of around $6 billion, provoked outrage. Opposition spokesperson on aid, Anna McMorran, was incandescent.
This is a really shameful day. A shameful day for Britain in the world. Even the Archbishop of Canterbury has said how shameful this is.
A former Conservative foreign aid minister said the cut would cause 100,000 deaths in the developing world, and Romilly Greenhill of advocacy group One Campaign predicted even wider repercussions.
Cutting aid will make it harder to get vaccines to people all over the world, harder to get the treatments that people need, and ultimately it will extend the lifetime of the pandemic.
But not everyone in the UK is hanging their head in shame.
I would say cutting foreign aid at the moment is completely justified, actually.
Jeremy Hutton of the Taxpayers Alliance, which campaigns for lower taxes.
To keep shoveling money out the door at the same time as borrowing huge amounts just to keep the country running is quite indefensible.
Especially, he says, when you consider where some of that money has gone, on countries that appear to be able to pay their own way.
10, 9, 8...
India has its own space program. It even has its own aid program too. And yet in recent years, the Brits have handed the Indians more than $130 million in aid to help stimulate prosperity, generate jobs and develop skills in India. They've given more than $100 million to China to promote employment and improve the infrastructure there.
I don't think many people consider China a particularly needy country.
But supporters of the aid programme say these sums are a tiny fraction of the $19 billion the government spent on aid last year. The top 5 recipients, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Yemen and Nigeria, are clearly in need of help. Sam Nadell of the aid charity Oxfam says these and many other poor countries depend on British aid.
It's a lifeline for millions of people around the world. It supports girls into education, it vaccinates children, and it was also central to the effort to combat Ebola in West Africa.
The cut, he says, will hurt some of the poorest people on the planet. And as it prepares to host G7 and climate change summits next year, the UK, he says, will be diminished in the eyes of the world.
If it's seen to be breaking its promises now, it will make it less likely that it can build that trust needed to secure some of these vital agreements on, for example, climate change.
But the aid skeptics say Britain has nothing to be ashamed of. It will still be spending more on aid than its closest European economic counterpart, France, and on a proportional basis, 3 times what the US is spending. In London, I'm Stephen Beard for Marketplace.
This final note on the way out today, just because dogs make everything better, and goodness knows we could all use that today. Joe Biden's dog, Major, is not going to be left behind on Inauguration Day. He is getting his own indogguration. It's a fundraiser for the shelter from which the Bidens adopted him. No marketplace angle on that one. No business, no economics. Just a dog, just 'cause.
Marketplace is supported by Atlassian. 83% of Fortune 500 companies use collaboration software from Atlassian, like Jira or Trello, enabling teams to stay agile, aligned, and connected. Atlassian.com. And by NetSuite, helping businesses get control over financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Over 24,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle. Product tours at netsuite.com/public radio. And by LifeLock, reminding consumers that cyber criminals around the world keep finding new ways to steal identities. Learn more at lifelock.com/marketplace.
All right, we got to go, but here is your Monday moment of economic context. It's a follow-up, kind of, to Mitchell's piece about the medium-term future of the corona economy. I know I said this in the numbers, but in case you missed it, maybe you weren't paying attention, I don't know. The yield on the 10-year Treasury note stands at 1.14% today. A week ago, it was under 0.95%. Yes, still crazy low, but that is a solid rise in just a week. Now, why am I telling you this? Because rising bond yields are usually a signal of economic growth to come. That's why. Andrew Corbin, Ali Pham, Maria Hollenhorst, Sean McHenry, and Daisy Palacios produce this program every single day. I'm Kai Risdall. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is 8 p.m.
WNYC is supported by the Mount Sinai Hospital, voted